Morning. Let's talk Z-Run, everyone. Let's talk Z-Run. Let's see if this is working properly first. And then see who arrives. We've got a couple arriving. Hey Martin, how you doing? Let me just share this. I'll just share this over to the Facebook group if you haven't already joined. Let me just share this. I'll just share this over to the second here. You guys are rushing in today, aren't you? 13, wow. Second here. All right. Golden. We are good to go. We're going to chat Z-Run. Dan from New Mexico. Hey ya. I lost my little microphone attachment. Where did it go? Yeah. Let me bring this up here a little bit closer. It's not too bad. Is that better? It's probably better. Steve. I haven't had time for Poseidon merch yet, but it's all in the grand plan. It's all in the grand scheme. I want to make some sort of baseball type hats first. Some really cool ones, but I got the whole brand is being reworked at the moment. Excuse me, we got Stanley redoing the graphic design right now. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. We're keeping it relatively similar with the Trident, but a little bit more punch, a little bit more professional, because I just half-assed that one together 12 months ago when we started and when we named it Poseidon, and now it seems like, this is an actual thing and it's getting big and we need to invest some time and I already invest a heap of time, but invest some money in some polish. Okay, Burnsy's here, Blazon's here. Zach, hey, how you doing? Make sure, guys, we've got 23 viewers. You're all forgetting to put your penny in the slot, aren't you? Hit the like button for the entry fee. Yes, we can talk about Preakness auction. We will talk about that, actually. We might talk about that first up. We'll talk about all sorts of things. Shoot me some questions. You can drop some horses for horse reviews. We can do that too. It's the Mothers Club of Z. Time to have a whinge, and I will. Chad, nah, let's leave that out of here, mate. We try not to whinge here. Try and keep it positive, moving forward, all those good things. We have a little bit of a whinge at the time, but, we move on quickly and we look for our next strategy. If one doesn't work, we change to a new one. No, I got no idea when breeding's coming. I'm hoping like tomorrow, but it won't be. But I'm hoping for an announcement soon, and I'm hoping it will be within the next 2 weeks that it actually opens. We're all itching for it. Joseph, how hard is it to snipe studs on the stud farm for minimum price? Mate, if you're there and just watching it all day, every minute of every day pretty much, then you'll probably do all right, but there's not many of us that have that kind of time to just sit there and stare at the screen, keep refreshing the screen, hoping that a great stud drops in at the right price. And look, if you don't know the stud by a specific name, by the time you research to see if it's any good, if the stable knows what they're doing, they'll have it in and out of there before you even get back to it. That's a good question, Sam. Sam YOLO. If you missed out on the drop, should you buy on OpenSea for the higher prices or wait till next drop? Depends on your budget, mate. If you've got a really, really big budget, then you can probably afford maybe to buy a couple of unraced or decent races on OpenSea. I saw one yesterday that looked pretty tasty. Maybe we'll have a look at that today. Someone will buy it. What was it called? Space something or other. Can't remember. I doubt that I would be able to find it again actually. It was called Space something. Anyway, have a look for horses called Space something that are pretty good track records and not that expensive. I think it was 3 ETH for a Z5, which you think, oh, that's pretty expensive, but it looked to be a pretty fair horse. First to like, thanks Frank. Yeah, Burnsy, how can they not sub? Get on it. 70% of my viewers are not subbed in. Not subbed in, can you believe it? It's a travesty. Doesn't really matter, guys. I love the subs we have. We don't need any more. It don't matter. All right, so we're going to talk about, what was it? What was that sponsorship? I'm not. The Preakness. We'll talk about that in a minute. Voodoo Child. Okay, we might come back to that. Yeah, blazing. Why can't they open the marketplace and breeding like it was 6 months ago? Well, that's the plan for breeding. The plan for breeding is to have it open permanently. But last time they opened it, it was a bit glitchy and producing some super freaks. And the marketplace it's just not going to be viable to be open 24 hours a day anymore, because if they put all the horses they had left and opened the marketplace, they would be sold out within a couple of minutes, 5-10 minutes. So I think there's probably 1 or 2 more drops maximum, and then we don't have to worry about horses anymore. You'll only be able to get them from OpenSea or buy, you know, the new bred horses, which will, I mean, for those of you that haven't got Genesis yet, that would be adding a bit of stress, but it will be nice to sort of get beyond that point too. For breeding purposes, would you rather purchase an unraced Z9 or 10? Yeah, it's a hard question to answer, Alexander. If the exclusive filly or mare with a solid bloodline has a good race history as well, then I might favour that. But if the exclusive filly or mare has a good bloodline but a poor race history, maybe the other way. Oh, sorry, my mic is turned around. Wait a sec. Let me see if I can find this little spacer or make something. Wait a second here. Wait a second. Actually, let's just put it there. Hang on. Hang on. All right, that should be better. I've taken it off and just put it in front of me on the table. Thanks for that, Martin. That was my concern. I've got this little spacer that I normally put between my clothes and the mic, and that's what I was missing this morning. And I sort of just jumped on without looking around at the mic, but anyway, it's all good. Does that sound clear enough now? Give me a thumbs up if that sounds pretty good. Steve says clean. I wonder if that's about the microphone. Hopefully. All right. Let's talk about the new auction, the Preakness auction. Let me jump back over here, and let me find the link, and then, oh, actually I can just Google. Let me just Google Preakness auction, see if anything comes up. Geez, I'm a bit unprepared this morning, aren't I? Here we go. There's a Yahoo Sports story on this exact thing from a couple of... What's the 12th? Is that today? 13th today here. So the 12th, probably your time, the 12th, USA time. Yeah, okay, cool. Doesn't have a... Oh, one of NFTs. Is it linking over there? No. Let's go on OpenSea and see if we can find it. 1 second. I'll switch the screen over in a minute. We'll have a look what's going on with type up here, Preakness. Have I found it? Yes, I found it. All right. All right, let's switch over to that side and we'll have a quick chat about this. Boom. All right. So there's a link in the Discord, in the Z Discord, which will bring you here. And basically, from what I gather now, I'm not huge and I don't have a huge racing background. So there'll be a lot more people more excited about this than currently than what I am. But in saying that, this looks pretty massive. From what I can gather, it's one of the biggest races in the world, the Preakness. Is it the Preakness Stakes or something or other? And what we have here, they've basically taken some special clips like this one. Okay, you can see the NFT here. Triple Crown winner montage. Okay, so this is running through the winners of history of the race, which is cool. You can see it's already fetching $5,000. It will be interesting to see where this gets to. If you jump over to OpenSea.io, and even just search for Preakness, you'll find all these NFTs. And basically, I think what's going on is if you win one of these auctions, so here's a beautiful, looks like a painting. Here's another clip here. One hasn't fetched too many dollars yet, 0.25 currently. Okay, it's the full race. Includes a Z-Run Genesis Z10. So you're getting a Z10 with this also. And then you also get an exclusive Preakness race coat skin, which is probably going to look I know this is the rendering that we've been given. I don't know if that's the exact finished product. Okay. So if you're a bit excited about that, there won't be too many of these skins, I don't imagine, only through this auction. So there was, I think there's 17 of these kind of clip race history pieces. And then there's also 15, I think. I'll show you the other ones. These ones. Which represents I wish we could go full screen. Can we go? Oh, we can. Hello. Look at that. So you can hang that in your virtual man cave or your virtual pub or your virtual sports bar. It's not a specific horse. It's just a specific colour. So in this case, we've got colour name Chartreuse Run. Chartreuse is the colour. I'm not sure that Run is part of it, is it? Geez, you'd think I'd know more about said run, wouldn't you, hey? What's this one? Does this say? Okay, yeah. I don't know why they're adding the Run. Why are they doing that? Why did they add Run? Why didn't they just call it Fire Brick? Because we know it's called Fire Brick. I do like Fire Brick as a colour. That's pretty cool, isn't it? If you had a sentimental favourite horse that was in Fire Brick, then this might be for you. I sold my Fire Brick horse. I don't think I've got any more Fire Bricks. It does look a lot like Granger's colour, if I'm honest. And probably a little less like Fire Brick. The colour rendering doesn't look great. I mean, Chartreuse is Breathless Edge's colour. Am I right that Chartreuse is Breathless Edge's colour? Pretty sure it just doesn't look anything like it. Z-Run colours. So what do you think? Will you be buying one of these? Yeah, Chartreuse is Breathless Edge's colour, and if you know Breathless Edge, well, to be honest, that looks more like AO to me and less like Chartreuse. Let me know if you're with me in the comments there. Let me know if you're with me. Chartreuse is like a fluorescent, you know, a fluorescent green, like a really aggressive green, like a, how would you explain it? It's almost like a nuclear reaction type, nuclear rod type green, the way the Simpsons would colour those nuclear reactor rods. Okay, but anyway, they're there. They're kind of cool. 0.3. Someone's already up there for $1,200 on that. It's crazy what the NFTs are going. Guess what? I'm doing my own NFT launch. Probably waiting for the gas to go down, to be honest. The gas is crazy at the moment, but I'm going to do my own NFT launch. Hopefully the microphone's working. I haven't been looking at the chat here. Yeah, Lucky Jack's with me. Yeah, uranium. That was the word I was looking for, Lucky Jack. Yeah, definitely AO, isn't it? It's crazy. They're way off. I don't know how they got through quality control, to be honest. But someone's going to buy them, but they don't, in my opinion, they don't represent the colours that they are. Let's just have a look on that level and see. Let's find some other colours that we know quite well. Is there another colour that I know quite well? I mean, Ghost White. I don't even know Ghost White that well, but I'd be sure it's not that colour. Are you with me? I'm sure it's not that colour. Is it? Is it like dark grey for Ghost White? If it is, it's been named incorrectly. But yeah, these ones seem to have slipped through quality control. Geez, don't you wish they had like a group of, say, 20 players that had, you know, some sort of access where the team could just go, this is what we're doing, can you pick any holes in it? And we could go, yep, those colours kind of suck, you got them all wrong. And they could go back and rectify it before they put it to the public. Ghost White is white. Anyway, they'll probably go for a whole bunch of money. They're great little GIFs, animations of Z-Run horses. It's a shame they don't match to the colour, because if you have a favourite horse in Ghost White, are you going to want to put that one on the wall? Well, maybe it's supposed to be running in the dark and the colours are tweaked, but anyway. Seems a bit odd. But these, the race history moments are really interesting now. I'm not, as I said, I'm not a huge horse racing buff, so I probably won't dip my toes into these auctions, but to have like these famous horses winning this famous race, and it's a one of one, I believe. You know, for a horse racing buff, for your virtual man cave or your virtual sports bar, are they one of one? Yeah, they are. So they'll never be recreated, and I assume Preakness owns the rights. Well, they must do own the rights to these, so no one else can ever create these. Never be minted again. So these will go for some decent coin, I think. Maybe they change the colour when they're purchased, Burnsy. Maybe they do. All right, let's have a look here for some questions. Let's have a look at some questions here. And I know there was some horse reviews. Let's scroll back up. VV, yeah. More so, are you after more so the racing moments, the racing history moments? I think for me, they will prove relative. Well, not financial advice, obviously. I don't know what I'm talking about on this level or any level for that matter. But, you know, some of those famous horses winning those famous races are quite interesting to me. Even as a non-horse racing fanatic, I do enjoy horse racing, but I'm not fully into it. But even as a non-horse racing fanatic, but someone who is, you know, really interested in NFTs, they do interest me. But I think they'll go well outside the budget that I'm willing to spend. Be interesting to see what they go for. All right, let's have a look. Questions. Daniel, hello from Canada. Hey, mate. Hello from Australia. Get your likes and your subs on, people. Okay, Daniel asks first. Review on a Voodoo Child. I'll switch back over to the screen in a moment. Let me just bring up the Voodoo Child. We'll do a couple of these. And we'll answer some questions. Voodoo Child. Looks like a bred horse to me. It is. It's an exclusive. Let's come back over here. Have I got the right horse? Look, it's not great. I don't think I need to tell you that, do I? 21 races, 2 seconds, 2 fourths. That's not great. Triple A, not the best performing racing stallion there is. And then we got Flashy, unraced. What's behind Flashy? 2 unraced horses. All right. Now I'm wondering if you're wanting me to review this for a purchase. I don't see, to be brutally honest, I don't see too many redeeming factors on this horse as to why I would want to purchase it. It doesn't seem to have any bloodlines, proven bloodlines that I would want to work with. You could go through and check how many, good races AAA has produced, has sired. But look, when it comes to bred horses, my theory is this. Yes, you can get good racing horses from bad parents, essentially, because the genes are skipping a generation. But I think it's better practice to try and use good racing horses, because the fact that, particularly when you're in the second generation like you are here, so you go Genesis, then down to Legendary, usually, and then the next step down is normally Exclusive. By the time you get to Exclusive, you might have a horse like this, which is not much good. And then if the parents or the grandparents are still, parents and grandparents are still pretty good, then you might be able to skip a generation and still produce a champion. But what is going to be the biggest indicator? Let's say you've got some really awesome racing horses up the top. Let's say you've got Grandeur and Ducky Malin as the 2 parents initially, and you come down and you breed that horse with Insane Him. Okay, so you got some pretty incredible parents. But then that offspring that you have is like this, 21, 30 races, no wins. Okay, and you think, well, maybe I can still produce great races because of the great genetics. Now, you'd be right, but what is the biggest key indicator that your offspring contains the best genes of that great genetics above? It is the fact that if it is a fast, successful racer. So in my stable, I'm trying to bring down the best of the best into the best of the best into the best of the best into the best of the best. Because if we can get genes transferring from the parents and from the grandparents in a skipped gene scenario, do we not think that maybe the freaks might be generated when you get the best genes from the direct parent, the best genes from the grandparent, and the best genes from the great-grandparent? There's a bigger selection of quality genes to pull from if the horse that you're breeding from is already good. If the horse that you're breeding from is already bad, then you're relying on that smaller, if you like, sample size of gene pool. Do we think that the grandparents have a greater influence on the offspring than the parents themselves? I wouldn't have thought so. I would have thought there would be some sort of sliding scale where, maybe the direct parents influence the offspring at 50% together, the 2 of them, total 50. And then as we move back, maybe in the next generation, 25, 12, 6, 3. By the time you get 4 or 5 generations back, the influence is minimal at best. So by using bad racing horses to breed from, yes, you can get good horses, but is it best practice? We don't know. I think not in my strategy, but a lot of people think it's good. A lot of people are buying relatively ordinary horses with good genetics to try and skip the generation. It works. We've seen it work already. Entry fee paid. Hit the like button if you wouldn't mind. As your entry fee, hit the like button on the way in. And if the content's a bit dodgy, which it usually is, isn't it? It's usually a bit dodgy. Then you can change it to a thumbs down on the way out, as I've noticed a few people have, and that's okay. Okay. How's the mic going? Sounds all right? I'll just scroll down, making sure. No complaints. That's good. All right, questions. We'll do some more questions. Yeah, Joe, I quite like the horses ones, except I'm disappointed with the colour rendition. Okay, sorry, I skipped a bunch there. I'm trying to find entry fee paid. Review Ebony Royal. Let's do that one. And then I noticed some other couple of questions there. Ebony. Whoop. Ebony Royal. There. Oh, Z1. Z1. Is this a new one? Must be a new one. I haven't seen this guy running around. See if I've got any odds on him over here. My sheet hasn't been updated recently, so I may not, but let's see if I've got any. Ebony Royal. That's a nice horse. What are you doing to me? Give me run that. Okay. 17% is very nice. Was my sheet broken or something? Come on. There we go. Okay, 8s, 9s, 7s. Looks like you've figured him out. If this is your horse, who was asking that question? Darren, if this is your horse, looks like you got him figured. You've been running him mostly in the 2-2s where he's getting better odds, but in actual fact his win rate isn't very good there. So have a play around it. I would have a play around with this one at almost everywhere, but 16 and up, 16 and longer, all the way up to 2600 looks decent. Yeah, if you don't have a mare partner, give me a call. Look me up on Facebook in the Facebook group, link below. Email me, link below to the website. If you're looking for a good mare to breed this guy with, I would be interested in breeding with this guy. I think he looks very, very good. Okay. What kind of difference does gait preference make? Joseph, I'm of the opinion that gait reference is not in there yet. Every time the devs are asked that question, they say that it's not currently a thing. Now, I know that in the early days, I thought gait preference was a thing, and I was tracking it, and I was only putting my horses in gate 7 if they were good in 7, but it just turned out to be my mind playing tricks on me, because the horses were pretty decent odds at that races, and I would only put them in 7. They would perform pretty well in 7, and then often I'd put them in another gate and they would lose, and I would think, oh, well, that's a dud gate, but it was just me my mind playing tricks. When breeding opens, can you breed from the offspring you produce this? Jimmy asks, when breeding opens, can you breed from the offspring you produce this season, or do you have to wait till breeding reopens again? No, you can keep breeding. So for example, I've got roughly 40 mares, 40 stallions. We're going to breed most of those, resulting in roughly 80 horses. But then, instead of selling all of them straight away, we'll keep the best, or what we think might be the best, let's say 20 mares. We'll race them, we'll choose the best of those, and we'll breed them again. Okay, so you can absolutely breed them straight. You can breed them straight away that day if you want. Great whale. Great whale. Let's have a look. Great whale for Kevin. Z7. Genesis. Oh, very nice. Some good horses came in this drop, didn't they? It's always great to see these new horses. I assume this guy's pretty new, only 39 races. That's not a lot. Let's see what his odds are doing. The fields in grades 3, well, probably 5, 4, 3, and 2 haven't been the strongest in the lower entry fees. So the odds aren't telling all the story. You really need to dig deeper on these horses. But from what I see from this one, in paid races, wow, this is interesting. This is unusual. So in paid races from 1800 up, the Great Whale is a good horse. You're getting basically $8, $7, even a $6 odds at 2400. 2400 looks like your specialist distance if this is your horse. 22 is also excellent. 2000 is also pretty good. 1800's a bit funny. You got good odds, $8 there, but at 1600 you got $45 odds. So it goes from excellent to rubbish in the blink of an eye, and that's unusual. You don't usually see that gap, not that big a gap. So that's interesting. But yeah, run it from probably 2000 to 26. Again, this might be a horse that I might be interested in breeding. It's a colt. It's a colt. Maybe not. I'm more looking for really quick, excellent mares at the moment. I probably don't have any room for colts, but keep me in mind. This looks to be an excellent horse. Touch base with me. If you don't have any mares, give me a yell. We'll see what we can do. Lucky Jack. The trophy at auction is, yeah, bar? Is that like mare? I don't know. Hands up who can't wait for big tournaments and then our own Z-designed NFT trophies for our trophy room. Oh, hands up for that. I'm into that. Come on, that would be absolutely so much fun to be winning trophies. Much like they incorporated into poker. I mean, basically the whole poker structure we can incorporate into Z-Run, like the multi-tier tournaments. You know, currently what it looks like we have is the sit and go style, just the individual races. The race fills up and then it goes off. But then we have multi-tier style, which is the multi-tier style would be where you would get your NFT trophies, because if you've got 1,000 or 2,000 horses starting off at the bottom tier and then coming up to one eventual winner, well, you want an NFT trophy for that because that's a huge win. As far as a sit and go, just a one-off, then look, to be honest, that probably doesn't deserve an NFT trophy. We could have other trophies around that where you have, you know, monthly, if you get the most points in a month, or you get the most wins in a month, you get horse of the month, or maybe we have a player voting system where you vote on who is the best horse this month. Okay, and that might get a medallion or a trophy or something. But the big double-tiered trophies that we were looking at in the Preakness auction, well, it's gone now, but the big trophies like that, oh, wouldn't that be epic? Multi-tiered tournament, you get a big giant trophy, hang it in your NFT trophy room, or put it on the shelf. So cool. Yeah, the old race ones get you a Z10 with a skin. We mentioned that. Seems strange, these or the Atari horses could be very bad races. Raymond, I would suggest they're going to be minted in the normal random fashion. So Raymond says it seems strange that the Preakness or the Atari horses could be very bad races, but if Z gives them winners only, that's also strange. They'll be minted in the normal random fashion by the person who wins the auction, or Z will mint them up. I definitely don't think Z will be picking out some really good winners. If there happens to be a few winners in there, I think it's just coincidence. Well, I would assume it's coincidence. Burnsy has won a few horses from Z comps. I have not, but back in the day, there was only a couple of hundred people, so nearly everyone won a horse. If you submitted your competition meme or whatever it was, everyone was pretty much a winner, and some people were winning too. The other portraits of Z come with a ton more like a knacker. You get a knacker? Really? Well, I'll have to look into that. And tickets to the 2022 race. You get a Nakamoto, a Z1 or a Z2. Notice that, but anyway. Don't take my word for on the you get a knacker. Make sure you have a look in the when you click on the NFT and click on the information, all the info's there about what you're going to get. So have a look at that. Yeah, the colours are a bit funk, weren't they? They're a bit funk. Let's switch back. Should we switch back to full screen while I just do these questions? Raymond, that's a positive attitude. Yeah, they're more rare being the wrong colours, like when they misprint a stamp or punch a coin or mint a coin. Yeah, I bought a an NFT the other day, which was one of the ones that everyone hates at the moment, chubbies. The chubby I bought is supposed to have an animated background, but the one I bought has a completely frozen background. It doesn't work. Maybe that's a cool thing. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe it's not. They're a bit. I don't really think the project has all that much behind it, to be honest. But it was cheap. Oh, the odds. Someone did ask about odds. Oh, could you discuss odds? Yes, they don't run 10,000. It's 1,000 simulations. They run 1,000 simulations and basically derive the odds from that. So basically, the problem with those odds is you can see 1,000 races into the future and see how many roughly races your horse is capable of winning amongst similar fields. So it takes a lot of the mystery away from the game. I am hoping that they either make the odds a little bit less accurate, or maybe derive the odds from the history of the horse racing. So, for example, in the beginning, much like it is in real racing, in the Griffin race, in the maiden race, in the first up race, it's very wishy-washy and very vague as to who the favourite might be. But then if a particular horse wins that race, then going into the next race, he might be closer to the favourite, and the horse that comes last might be closer, more of a long shot, but then could flip pretty quickly based on the next 3 or 4 or 5 races. That would be what I would really look forward to as far as the odds are concerned. Currently, they're way too accurate, in my opinion. Jump back and have a look. There's a couple of good videos discussing the odds and potential solutions. One of those NFTs let you name an undercard race. Wow. That could be cool, couldn't it? That's hectic that you get to name. We could have an undercard called the Poseidon Racing Race. Maybe I'll bid on that one. You could also maybe bid on it and then auction the rights to naming that race, potentially. I don't know. How often do they do drops? Every month or so. There was a stage there when they were doing them almost weekly, but lately there's been about 4 or 5 weeks in between, and they kind of got this one a little bit wrong. Let's be fair on Zed though. Let's be fair on Zed Run, because they've copped a lot of flack for this recent drop. But when we look at the stats, yes, there was a handful of stables that got a lot of horses. Okay, but that's the exception. That's not across the board. When you look at the stats across the board, they sold 7,200 horses or something roughly around there, and they went to 6,000 different stables. That is a huge tick for success on distribution of horses. Yeah, there were a couple of outlying cases of people that got 30, 40 horses, but those people probably only sucked out 300 horses from the entire 7,000, and the rest of those 7,000 were distributed extraordinarily evenly. That's exactly what they wanted, and I would say that was a huge success. I think they did that really, really well. So next drop, I would suggest, is probably a couple of weeks away, 2 or 3 weeks. We haven't heard yet. AAA was better before the reset, hey? Yeah, you might be right. Okay, let's do a few more. I'm probably not going to get to the bottom of this list today, because we're getting a lot of requests and a lot of questions. Where are we? Where were we up to? Oh, you guys are busy. Okay, here we go. Daniel Turner, review Saint. We'll have a quick squeeze. Bought it for 1 ETH. Genesis? Legendary. Legendary. Oh, the Z2 that it's come from looks good. The Z1's unraced. Z2 certainly looks good there. The Z1's unraced. It's had one win. What are the odds? Let's have a quick squiz at the odds. See how it's travelling. I mean, the bloodline's okay. Should be decent for breeding. It's already had the one win. From 20 races, though, it's a bit sparse, to be honest, that it's only had one win, no seconds and 3/3. The odds aren't great. 20, 22, 18, 32, 25, 21, 44. I think that one win was a lucky jag. I wouldn't be racing this horse too much more. I'd look to try and breed it once or twice, making sure that you try and breed it with the best racing studs you can find and see what happens. Is it worth 1/8? Well, most knackers are sort of worth 1/8, so you probably haven't done your dough there. Ronald, if you were getting into Z-Run right now, how would you go about it? Trying to get in breeding, prices are crazy. Couple of ways. You could wait for the next drop. I think if you're going to buy a Genesis, you may as well. If you've got a huge budget, sure, you could buy a couple of unraced Genesis for maybe 2 times, 3 times, 4 times the drop price. The higher the Z you go, the closer it gets to the drop price. So at Z1, you can still buy on OpenSea for roughly the same as what the drop was. You might even get one slightly cheaper than the drop. And that exists down to about Z4. Once you get to Z5, they're about 1.5, 2 times over, I think, something like that. 6s are like 2 to 3 times over. And then once you get to the 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, you're sort of looking at 3, 4, 5 times market price, even 7 times market price maybe. So if you had a big budget, you might be able to pick and choose some unraced horses from the higher levels. If you had a low budget and you just wanted to start, then I might wait till breeding opens and try and buy a really, really cheap horse, like a $50 or $100 horse, if you can, and then wait for the drop and buy a horse there. Other than that, wait for the drop and then breed those horses and have a play around that way. Prices are through the roof. Can you breed kids with parents? No, Jedi, you need to be one separation point away. So what I mean by that is you can't breed brothers and sisters, surprisingly. You can't breed brothers and sisters. You can't breed kids with parents, but you can breed cousins and you can breed grandkids and grandparents. Okay. Let me show you a little chart. Can I bring that chart up? Show you this one that I've been working on. All right, you can screenshot this if you like. I'm going to drop it in the Facebook group at some stage. This is what me and my brother will be working on. You can see we've got Grandeur up here, Breathless Edge, both sides of the table there. Breeding those with some of our best Z1 mares, bringing down to the legendary level. Okay. Hopefully we get a really good racing male legendary and a really good racing female legendary. Either side, doesn't matter. We cross them two together. I'll give more reasons about why I think that is a very good option at a later date. And it has to do with having more of the genetic tree behind the horse. That will give us an exclusive. Hopefully we get an exclusive mare out of that combination and a good racing exclusive mare. It might take us a couple of months to get that. It might take us 3 or 4 months to get that. We don't know. And then what we will do is again breed Breathless Edge and Grandeur back in. Okay, stacking them back in. That gives us a higher concentration of these elite racing horses back into these generations here. Okay, we then hopefully get a really good stacked exclusive mare there. And what I mean by stacked is it's got extra double Grandeur and double Breathless. And we get down here, or double Grandeur on the left, double Breathless on the right. We get down to this level. We look for a really great racer on both sides again. We cross them back in to get an elite racing generation 1 mare, hopefully. And then we put Grandeur in and Breathless back in for the 3rd time each. And we get these final elite racing generation 2 races. I'm excited about that. That could take us 12 months to get to this level. But if we can get to this level and we're producing a high rate of really, really nice horses, you know, by the time you get down to here, you've got horses that are pretty much probably in the 90% range of combination of grandeur and breathless. Because the only other genetics you have in here, whether this is a good thing or not, it might be an absolutely terrible idea. But whether this is a good thing or not, we don't know, but it's worth trying. The only other genetics we have up here is these mare genetics, which by the time you get down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations, they're pretty much diluted out. So you end up with just pure grandeur, breathless combinations. Does that sound like a good combo? It does to me. It does to me. Yeah, well, Chad Burnsy, Blazon says Golden Dragon, who is a terrible horse, I'll be honest, was put in. If I had said, would he have any chance of getting any studs, I'd probably say no, but apparently it was put in stud and 7 covers gone within half an hour. There you go, must have been priced correctly. When looking for mares to breed your winning horse, what do you consider outside of their odds? Breeding history, do they have a history of producing great races? That's really, really important. I've got a couple of mares that are not the best races, but they have incredible breeding history. There's one here that we have called Ace of Spades, and I'm only bringing this up because I know my horses better than your horses, for example. And look, Ace of Spades is not the best racer. That's why she's only had 13 races. Her odds are starting to blow out. But as far as breeding, she looks to be that she could be a super mare. Now, don't worry too much about some of these early races. Ace King, and this is a good hint, although Ace King is now pretty ordinary. He is pretty ordinary. Back in the day, Ace King was the best horse in the game before the reset. An absolute monster. There was only a couple of them in the game, and Ace King was one of them. Absolute monster. And that also hints at the fact that Ace of Spades looks to be a very good horse at bringing down the best genes and consolidating them into races. I mean, look at her history here. 16%. Some of these horses haven't had many runs. I will take that. But 16%, 40%, 7%, 13%. 1.3 is not bad. And then as you get down, when we bred her with Wall Street, you get Go Long, which is one of the best legendaries in the game, and Blade is absolutely exceptional. You know, 2 very good races. So she looks to be a very, very good mare. And in actual fact, Irrational Exuberance is better than what is suggested there. Okay? Irrational Exuberance is a very good horse as well. So she is interesting. I'm looking forward to, maybe we will use her in that chart that I just showed you to try and grab the best genes from Breathless and Grandeur at the original level, at the start point. She will be one of them that we probably use. Oh, I didn't have the screen on, did I? Sorry about that. But you get the point. You get the point. Can you check? Okay, we'll do 2 more horse reviews. Let me switch over to the screen properly now. Missed it. What have I done with that? We'll do a couple more horse reviews and then we'll wait and do... Desert Rose was next on the list. And then we'll do another one of these another time. Wow, 1,065 races. Crikey, you have been busy. Elite is interesting. I kind of feel like Elite is where you're going to get the best races from, at least at this point. We'll see if that pans out. And the good thing with this particular horse is that she is a filly, so if you breed her with a Genesis again, you will hold that elite racing level, which would be rather interesting. So I would certainly be producing, if this is your horse, I would be looking to breed her with the best racing genetics you can find and see how you go. Give me a shout out. I might be interested in doing a 50-50 split with this one. It looks rather interesting. I usually don't breed with elites because they're too far down the timeline, and there's a lot of control points higher up that I would like to have a little bit more control over. But it might be worth it. But for sure, even if not, grab the best racing genetics you can find in the stud farm and see how you go. CJ says, hey mate, currently got a problem with one of my horses. He's overperforming his $13 odds with 20% win rate, 50% show. Yeah, either way, I'd be probably retiring him. I wouldn't race him too much more. You might find in the future, if they change the class system, that you might have some races that suit him a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, I would, if he's obviously a male, if you're thinking about studding him, I think he'll stud rather nicely. His odds aren't terrible, and his win rate is good. I think you'll probably get decent money for studding him, and then you have to decide whether you want to sell him now and get the money that you might get for him, or how many months of stud do you think that you would be able to get similar money as if you were to sell him today? And then if that number comes out to be like 2 months or 3 months, then it's probably a no-brainer to hang on to him, because after 3 months you'll have the same amount of money returned as if you had have sold him today. So if it works out to be 12 months or 18 months, then maybe it's worth offloading him while you can get that premium. Frank, do I think the USD prices will be the same next drop? No idea, mate, to be honest. They threw a spanner in the works this drop because last time they were fairly closely aligned with USD each time. And this time they seem to be more aligned with ETH because the Z1's doubled in USD value and the Z2's doubled, nearly tripled, I think, in USD value. So they went a bit crazy. So I don't know what they're thinking next time. Kumi, check Desert Rose. This will be the last check that I've done. Let's check Desert Rose. Oh, that was Desert Rose. Okay, sorry. I just checked Desert Rose. She's a beauty. All right, we'll do one more. Tycoon Flex. And then we'll answer a few questions and we'll wrap it up. Have you guys been hitting the entry fee button or not? Not bad, 68 viewers. Geez, we're going. That's a good turnout. That's a really good turnout. Thanks for joining us. Remember, if you haven't already, check out the description. Facebook group. Also, my Offspring Advanced Notice Sales email list. If you are looking for a high quality bred horse, then you might want to join there because I have sold all my ordinary horses pretty much, and now I'm left with 80 high quality horses. And if you, like me, believe that breeding from the highest quality horses is the best practice, then sales pitch, you might want to join that list and see what value we offer next time around. We are losing my voice. We are aiming We are aiming to sell our horses slightly below market price to make sure that hopefully you guys can either flip them if you want for a slight profit or get some really good value. Tycoon Felix. Did I say Flex before? I think I did. I'm hopeless at reading if you haven't been here before. You would think English wasn't my first language. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Not bad. Jambo, not bad. Early days, I would suggest 9% is not brilliant, is it? It's not brilliant for a first starter, but it could be a great horse. Let's see if I've got any extra information on the odds here. If I had to guess looking at that, I would say this is a 10-to-1 style horse. Pretty close. We got $8.50 to, yeah, 3 of the distances are at 10s. One's at $11.50. So it's roughly a $10 odds horse. It looks, if I had to guess where you would run this horse, I'd try a few more 2600s, I would. I'd try a few more there. Look, I don't think it's going to do, I think it's running at probably pretty close to its odds. at the moment. It's not underperforming, it's not overperforming. In the long run, if you start racing this against really high-class fields, I would expect that win rate to potentially drop. Missed out on the Terra drop. Yeah, that's unfortunate, Frank. Yeah, we had, I don't know, maybe 20,000 stables going for 7,000 horses, so unfortunately. Keep an eye out and we'll make sure, watch the channel. Next drop, when we get the details, we're going to make sure that everyone has the best information about how to get yourself a horse. Z10 around 175 next drop, maybe. Badass. What is that referring to, Frank? Was that the breeding chart? Breeding back, hopefully in a couple of weeks, Camillo. Oh, no, you guys are talking about the NFTs, are you? The NFT trophies, that would be badass. Iggy on the phone. Are you watching me, Iggs? You probably are watching. Jump in the comments if you're watching, mate. I'll ring you back in a minute. Okay, we'll come back and do another horse review in a few days. I'm not going to do any more of those today. Oh, the trophy at auction looks badass. Oh, BA, I'm with ya. Record holder leaderboard. Yeah, there's a couple of leaderboards around that show the record race times and stuff. Keep your eyes out or ask on Discord, they'll tell you. Yeah, I've heard Ebbs talk about moving skins around from horse to horse, absolutely, or even putting different skins on. Hopefully we'll be able to design our own skins soon. That will be unreal. I can't wait for that. Kyle, how important is snapshot when it comes to breeding? I don't believe it's a thing. It could be, absolutely could be. And what we mean by snapshot is if your horse has, currently got a 30% win rate over 100 races or 50 races, say, when it goes to breeding, there's some people that consider that snapshot of form might influence the quality of the offspring. Oh, geez. Look, it absolutely could do. If I had to go one way or the other, I would say that it's not a thing, but it could be. So, but in saying that, even though I feel like it's not a thing, all my horses have excellent snapshots anyway. I retire them when they start fading. I keep an eye on them. When they start losing or getting higher odds, I stop them running. So they all have excellent snapshots. So I've got both bases covered there. The odds come from Z directly. Essentially, they come from a Z algorithm as such. Daniel, yes. Yes, Luke, the odds are the ones that Z stats and tools like that show. Frank, do I think the prices will get more expensive in correlation to the ETH price? I don't know. I don't think the Z1s and 2s and 3s and 4s can get much more expensive because they didn't all sell out last time. There was about 30 or 40 of them left. So I think they've kind of reached the top limits of the Z1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. I think potentially the 5, 6, 7s were about the right price. The 8s, 9s, 10s may get a little bit more expensive. Selling the link. Yeah. There's always people that are willing to go the extra mile to hack a system, but it is what it is. Hopefully Zed will find a slightly better solution than last time. But as I said, as far as a successful sort of reaching of the goal of horse distribution across as many stables as possible, 7,000 odd horses going to 6,000 odd stables, even if there's a few duplicate stables in there, it's an incredible number of stables to have those horses distributed across. That's a huge tick of success. Hopefully they can even refine that a little bit better to hold people from buying 40, 50 horses, I would agree. They did a great job. They really succeeded in what they were trying to do for the most part. Moncal's seen a spreadsheet that shows they only went to 2,430 stables. Fair enough. I don't know which line is correct. I don't know if which line is correct. I have no reason to think that Z is lying, but maybe they are. Or maybe they have misinformation. Luke, have I heard about this recent hack? Yes, I have. So be careful. Do not ever give your key phrase to any website whatsoever, number one, but this is not a key phrase hack. Do not ever sign in to MetaMask in any dodgy sites. That's the next one. And specifically this hack it basically said it was at another website claiming to be a Z tool site, Z tools, like a stat site or something. And then when you got there, it wanted you to sign in with MetaMask. Instantly, alarm bells ringing. But then if you always look on your MetaMask to see what you're signing into. Now, this hack was asking you to sign into Z-Run, not to sign into, some other stat site. It was asking you to sign into the Z-Run URL site, which then gives the hack site, access to your stable, and then they can transfer horses from your stable to their stable and then list them on OpenSea for sale, okay? So there are so many people in the crypto world at the moment. It's like the wild, wild west. There's a bunch of people that are trying to scam you for your ETH, for your horses, for your NFTs. You have to be so careful. There's also fake NFTs out there. Keep your eye out for those. I haven't seen any fake Z-Run horses as yet, but I'm sure they're going to pop up at some stage. There's other fake NFTs I've seen. Just be super, super careful. Super, super careful. Ask other people. If there's something too good to be true, ask advice. Unfortunately, I'm probably not the one to ask because I get bombarded with questions and I don't have time to do personal horse reviews or general advice. But if I see any hacks, I've already posted this hack in my Facebook group for the knowledge of the other users. Yeah, so just be careful. Just have the mindset that everyone's trying to rip you off. Okay, it's a horrible mindset to have, but currently that is the case. And then just be really, really careful. I really hope that from this, Z-Run implements two-factor authentication on the horse transfer system, so you can have a code on your mobile phone. Google Authenticator, you probably have it on your email or your bank accounts or whatever. We should be able to implement that onto the horse transfer system within the Z-Run website, I would hope, so that it can't be circumnavigated around, can't be got past, so that if you are hacked and you have 2FA on there, that the person still needs the code to transfer the horses out, okay? And then you yourself could potentially set up a new wallet, set up a new stable and move your horses away from the hack. Okay? Be careful. Every drop has gotten more expensive than the last. Yes, it has. Okay, yeah, that's another good hack. Another hack going around on the Discord. Again, just be wary. There's people trying to hack you, and people screenshot the Z admin profile picture and make maybe a minor change to the Z admin username, maybe put a full stop in there or a little dash in there or something like that. And then they come and tell you they're part of Z and you need to do this or that. Just be wary. Just be wary that might not be the person that it claims to be. Or if someone if in the comments below here or if in the personal messages, if someone called Poseidon Racing messages you and says, I've got this great deal, well, just be wary. It might not be me. You can always ask the stable owners to do something like change their stable description. And then I can go in there and change the stable description, put an exclamation point on the end or something, and you can refresh and see that I've done that to know that it's me. Just be careful. Luke, we'll do another horse review in the coming days. Lucky Jack with a question, a celebrity question. If you don't know, Lucky Jack is one of the original. He is an OG. What does that stand for? Original gangster or something or other? I don't consider myself an OG. I guess as time goes by, maybe, but these guys, Lucky Jack and the like, were around well and truly before I was around. Well and truly. What would you put? A Z2 Naka Genesis Gainsborough, my favourite colour, colt in stud for when breeding opens. You could always start high, mate. This would be my tactic. When breeding opens, you're going to have roughly, you would think 3 or 4 weeks, maybe, or maybe if it doesn't open for 2 weeks, you're probably going to have a couple of weeks before the breed reset, before the next breeding cycle. So you could always start high for the first 7 days, and if you don't get any breeds, then drop it down and keep an eye on whatever everything else is doing. Or if you're happy to say get 7 breeds at 0.5 ETH, which would be pretty tasty, wouldn't it? Then whack him in there at 0.5 ETH, and if you get 7, then you know you're rolling in the cash anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it? And then next time around, you think, when the breeding cycle resets, you think, well, I got 7 at 0.5 pretty quickly. Let's try 0.75. That's what we did last time, Lucky, is me and my brother, we chose all the studs that we didn't think we needed for our own in-stable breeding, because we've got roughly 50% studs and mares. So, and because of the stud to mare ratio of 7 breeds to 2, we only need roughly 1 stud, 1 stallion per 3.5 females. So all the ones we weren't using, we put in the breeding farm, but we put really reasonable prices on there. You know, just as a gauge, we wanted to sell them out if possible, and then next time we can take a look at what they went for, maybe bump them up a little bit more if they're successful studs. Burnsy, $50, $100 horse. That's crazy. Where are you shopping? I know it's crazy. That's because there's no breeding open. When breeding opens, I betcha within 2 weeks of breeding open, if it stays open for 2 weeks, we will be getting horses for $50 for sure. Have another look at Preakness. We might have a dedicated Preakness day, Raymond. We've had a little teaser today in the Q&A. We might do a dedicated one of that. When the prices start in 2 or 3 days, 4 or 5 days, maybe on the final day, we might have a look and see what the prices are doing, see what you really get, those kind of things. You know me, half-assed information. But it's good half-assed information. Hey, Jamie. What is better to keep, Z2 Colt or filly? Both Genesis, both unraced. It depends, YQ, on a couple of things. If you've got a big stable, I prefer the studs. If you've got a tiny stable, I prefer the fillies because they can build the stable. Your fillies can then pick and choose, cherry pick the best studs from the stud farm, and then you build up your bloodline in your stable month after month after month, and then you can breed with those and da-da-da. But if you've already got 20 of each, then I prefer to have more studs than I do mares. We'll probably go into that later, but I feel like if you can produce really epic legendary mares from, say, half and half, like for me, I've got 40 studs and 40 mares roughly. If you can produce, you know, month on month and eventually have 100 epic legendary mares, you can then use them for breeding the rest of your studs with. That's the way I sort of look at it. So I feel like the studs long term have maybe more purpose in the game, slightly. But I think if you look into how horse breeding works, the mare seems to be maybe slightly more important as far as consolidating the genetics within the breed. So you need those really, really good mares to start with. And there's some other uses as well. We'll look deeper into breeding another day. Must be forgetting about Wall Street. Yeah, Wall Street is a nice breeder. Wall Street is a nice breeder as well. Let's have a little... while we got the horse review up, I should have been back full screen, shouldn't I? I'll do one more horse review for Wall Street. Because my horse. And I can do what I like. This guy's a good one. He's a good one. I mean, number one, look up here at the mint number. Mint number 2. You don't want to know what we bought him for. You certainly don't want to know what we bought him for. And he's called Wall Street. I mean, that's one of the coolest names going around, I think. I love the name Wall Street. Not only that, he's a pretty good racer. 30 races. He's not the greatest racer, let's be honest. That's why he's only run 30 times, because I feel like if I keep running him, it will damage that win rate. So I'm just holding him there for now, seeing what we do, and then breeding him. But as a breeder, he is a belter. And you're going to find this with, horses that are not the greatest racers, but for whatever reason, whether it be just luck of the draw or whether it be something else, like maybe in the traits, when we get the dashboard, you might be able to see speed trait, 80%, consistency, 90%, short distance, 70%, long distance, 70%, these kind of traits. And you might have, breeding something or other. And someone like Wall Street might be a 90% efficient breeder, whereas some of the other ones might be a 5, 10, 20% breeder. Okay, so that could be a thing as well. We don't really know. So many exciting things to come into this game in the coming weeks, months, years even. But look at this. Lovely Witch is a great horse. She's one of mine, 22%. Looks like these couple are unraced. 7's not bad. Another 21%er. 9%. Well, I think I sold that horse. Oh, I might still have it. I think I still have social distancing. It's okay. 9%. It's only had limited races because I feel like that will start eating into it. Sirax here, a 10% over heaps of races, 25%. A lot of these haven't been raced a lot. Big Fish is one of mine, and excellent. Look at this recent history, though. Look at this recent history of Wall Street. Go Long, 14. Big Fish, 17. Blade, 18. Wall Street, 8, not bad. Tiger Snake is a very good horse at 9. This one's limited races. In fact, 2 unraced there. Will be interesting to see how they go. This one doesn't look the greatest. But again, we'll be breeding Wall Street with the best of our mares going forward. So we should be interesting to see what we get out of him. E Plum, E3 Plum, M Plum. Watching Doofy stream and me at the same time. Interesting. That's a bit overload. I should have Doofy on my headphones. Okay, we're going to wrap this up in a moment. 62 viewers and 62 likes. You guys are legends. Hit the sub button if you haven't subbed before. We do this once or twice, 3 times a week. If there's something going on, I'll jump on. As I said, we'll go back and have a look at the Preakness auction when it gets a little bit later into that. Daniel having trouble with MetaMask and OpenSea. Yep, try and contact the stable directly and see if you can get around that somehow. Always be careful when you're doing player-to-player transactions. There's been some scams and stuff involved there too, so use a middleman if you've got someone you trust. Although at one stage the middleman was the result of the scam, ended up running off with a whole bunch of horses and a whole bunch of Ethereum. Jamie, yeah, often we get frozen races, so that's probably a frozen race. A horse that's been live over 10 hours and still hasn't run. Yeah, that's probably that one, maybe. Or maybe is the race time is it stacked back 10 or 12 hours? Maybe it's that too. The reset, the great reset. Who knows, are we heading for another great financial reset too? There's a lot of YouTubers talking about that lately, isn't there? There absolutely is. Interesting financial circumstances across the entire investment ecosystem at the moment. But we won't talk about that because I'm not a financial advisor. Anyway, the great Z reset there was some slight issues with, early days, there was some slight issues with some bred horses absolutely dominating. Ace King and Winchester were the 2 horses. And there was a few others. There was another one of mine called Hypersonic that was absolutely smashing it. And another one, I was very, very lucky actually. I had most of the offending horses. But they decided that they were surpassing the Genesis horses way, way, way too quickly. And I agreed. In fact, when I saw what was happening, even though it was to my benefit, I complained about it and said this is not the way the game should be going because it will hurt the longevity. So I was quite happy for them to do what they had to do to make sure the longevity of the game was the top priority. So what they did was, and also the Z10s on average, about 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 Z10s were absolute monsters. Okay, so what they ended up doing was reset and tweak the algorithm so that, you know, less Z10s, because if you're paying $40,000 for a Z1 and only $150 for a Z10, but 1 in 5 Z10s is better than the Z1, or at least comparable to Z1, then those mathematical ratios don't agree, do they? Financially, you're going to try and buy 10 or 50 Z10s than buy one Z1. Okay, so that wasn't working out either. So what they did was they retweaked the Genesis algorithm so that it was more closely aligned to the value ratio. It's still probably better value to buy Z10s as far as racing is concerned, but breeding hasn't really been unwrapped yet. We don't know if breeding with Z1s is better than breeding with Z10s. We just don't know. It looks like at the moment you would claim that, okay, well, Z10s are very good at breeding because a lot of these monster horses that are winning lots and lots of money are the offspring of Z10s. And, you know, to some degree I would agree with that. But once we really start figuring out breeding, is it just the fact that there's more Z10s breeding, so you're getting like 1 in 100 monsters? And at the moment, because we really don't know breeding, maybe we're getting 1 in 100 monsters up the top as well. But once we really start refining it and seeing what works, are we going to bring down the sort of the knacker bloodlines where you're breeding Z1s and 2s in down to an efficiency level of like 1 in 5 or 10, and maybe the Z10s kind of stay out at 1 in, 1 in 30 or 1 in 50. We don't really know. So anyway, what they did was they reduced the potential of a freak coming out. Like producing freaks from a bred horse back before the reset was really, really easy, and it's a little bit harder now. So they reduced that, and then they also sort of realigned the value ratio between Z1 and the other Z horses, Z8s, 9s, 10s. Okay, but it seems like from all information we're getting, they don't ever want to do that again. Would you sell a horse for $50 if it costs 0.075 ETH? Well, that's a good point, Daniel. That's a very good point. But we'll talk about that. This will be the last question that we're going to answer potentially, and it's a very interesting question. So if we've got $4,000 roughly Ethereum, and the minimum breed price is 0.075. Whoa! Is that the minimum breed price, even for a Z10? Okay, maybe we won't see $50 and $100 horses that quickly in that case. No, I wouldn't. But what is going to happen is when breeding opens for a month or so, every man and his dog and his brother and his sister and his auntie and his uncle is going to breed because we think it's a gold mine. It's an endless gold mine. We just breed horses and we sell them at a profit and we rake in all this cash. Money. You know what I'm talking about. Now, what's going to eventually happen there is the horses being bred. Last time it was only open for 2 or 3 days, and we bred 3,000 horses roughly. 2,500 horses or something like that. So if it's open for a whole month, we're going to be breeding maybe 10 or 15,000 the first month and maybe 15 or 20,000 the next. And eventually, those lower end horses, your Z11s, 12s, 15s, 20s, 30s, 40s that you're breeding for $300, people are going to stop paying $300 or $400 for them eventually. Okay? You're just going to, just through supply and demand, there's going to be too much supply. Now, if you're sitting on 20 or 30 or 40 of these $300 horses in a month's time and none of them are shifting, and people start dropping their prices to 200, to 100, and you think, wow, I need to just get some money back from these, that's going to re-level the breeding process. And then if the minimum price doesn't change, then what everyone is going to be forced to do is be very, very selective. You're only going to want to breed the best with the best because you know that if you do that, those unraced horses might fetch $400, $500, $1,000. So you'll only do that. You won't want to breed a donkey with a donkey for $300 because you know that eventually you're not going to get that money back. Now, in the short term, maybe you can. I think probably you can. Not financial advice. But in the short term, it's probably viable. In the long term, when that supply outstrips the demand, those $300 horses are going, well, let's assume they're probably on the market at 400. They're probably going to sit there for a while, and the market on that low end might get flooded. So there's some interesting dynamics, some interesting market dynamics that are going to come in. At the moment, we're at an interesting Goldilocks zone because we've got huge user base increase and breeding's closed. So there's no horses on the market really, and the prices are through the roof. As soon as breeding opens permanently, we're going to start meeting that demand, and who knows how long it will take before supply gets higher than demand, and then you get some downward pressure on horse offspring prices. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Let's have a quick scan through if there's anything important. Nearly finished my cup of tea. Rice farmer, I don't know how much you'll get for your unraced Z1s or 2s. If I had to have a pot shot, the minimum is 0.25. I think you'll get that. Will you get 0.5? Depends how many others put their horses in there. Maybe. I don't think you'd get 1. But you could try it. Maybe you do if you've got a rare colour or something, something unique. But yeah, I'm not sure. Try it and see. Put your prices in a little high, and if you don't get any, if you've got a couple of Z1s or 2s, put the first one in a little high. If you don't get any, put your next one in a little lower. And your next one in a little lower. Z246 or whatever, yeah, they're just bred horses. As you breed horses, the Z number is an addition. So if you breed a Z1 with a Z1, you get a Z2. Breed a Z20 with a Z20, you get a Z40. And if you keep doing that, eventually you'll get out to 246 or so. I think it only goes to 264 or 268 or something like that, 260 something. Brian, is it better to own a number of Buterins or consolidate into one Zabo? Pluses and minuses for both, mate. I can't really answer that. That's something that you need to decide. Okay, let's have a quick look and wrap this up. We've been going, I don't know, how long have we been going? Probably an hour or so. Fellow Aussie, Gala the Kid, welcome. No horse stable. Yeah, unlucky, mate. We'll make sure hopefully we can try and get you into one next time around. By doing all the right things, changing the filter so the horses load quicker. That was the main one. Trying to load, 300 or 400 horses on one page was taking 30, 40 seconds, and by the time that loaded, they were all gone. But if you tweak the filter, you would get horses to load in a second, and you were into them. That seemed to work. Joseph, yeah, I don't like Discord, mate, so I've left that. I won't be coming back there. My brother keeps an eye on it for announcements, and we share them over to Facebook. We have a much more chilled environment, friendly environment, community-based environment, in my opinion, in the Facebook group. So you're welcome to join us there if you're not already. Yes, so Dominic, a horse that was raced back in December or November last year, but has currently no races raced prior. Those races were prior the reset, and you can't trust them. Not sure, Raymond. You could sell now, mate. You could sell now and try and cash in. I'm not sure. I don't know what value breeding will take out of them, Travis. I mean, it depends why you're holding that unraced. Are you holding it unraced and unbred so it's like new in the box, like a collectible Matchbox car or a mint condition Pokemon card? You know what I mean? That's what the unraced, unbred horses will have an appeal to collectors later because they've never been raced, they've never been bred, so they're essentially brand new NFT in the box, mint condition, PSA number 10. Did I get that right? I'm not really a collector on that level, but I've got a funny feeling it's PSA. But yeah, so it depends. So if you breed it, then you're ruining that new in the box feel. But then there's also that potential income from breeding it. So it's an interesting dynamic. Steve loves the Facebook group. A minted horse. Yeah, exactly. All right, we will wrap it up there. We've had a big session, 57 viewers, 65 likes. How many subs? Does it say? It doesn't say. It doesn't tell me yet. It doesn't tell me how many subs. But if you enjoy these sort of off the cuff, somewhat unorganised chit chats. Sometimes we do the organised ones where I have some pre-prepared stuff, but normally I just make my cup of tea and jump on here and let you guys decide and dictate the direction that we go with the talk. So that's a shame. Gala the kid. Hopefully we'll get you on next time. All right, we will wrap that up. But if you enjoy this style of content, question and answers, all the latest Z news, I am also, in the coming months, I'm also going to slightly diversify into other NFT projects. So if you love the NFT space, then this could be a cool channel for you. And for all of you that haven't left and are still here, keep your eye out. Hopefully this week, maybe Friday or early next week, my first NFT photographic art project is going to be launched at some really great prices. Well, I think they're really great, really accessible prices. If you didn't know, I am a professional fine art photographer in my day job. You can look up quick plug for me, that's not the website. It is www. I got tongue-tied. www.australianphotographer.com. Okay, and I've been working on, shall I show you? One last thing. Let's do it. Let me show you what I've been working on. Oh, why is Facebook closed? Hopefully it auto-saved those files that I didn't save yesterday. Eep, it's recovering something. Let's see. I want to show you guys the works that I've been producing, specifically as my first dip of the toe into the NFT art world. And the prices, I'm looking at starting the prices at probably, 0.05, maybe even slightly lower than that. They're loading up now. Stay tuned. Let's see if you guys think these are worthy. Oh, I quite like them. You ready? Are you ready? Where's the share button? Are you ready? Hands up. Hands up. Who wants one of these? Not me. No, I do. For your digital space, your digital office, your digital, let me just, that's probably okay. You get the point, even though my head's across the picture. That's fine. Some abstract art for your digital space, your digital stable headquarters, your Decentraland home, your Decentraland conference center. Okay, these are the ones. There'll be 3. I think there's 3, maybe 4. I do enjoy that one. Okay, I do enjoy that one. Bold, vibrant. The digital world's all about vibrant and attention-grabbing stuff, so I chose this series specifically to cover that niche. Oh, this is probably my favourite one. I wonder which one might sell. Well, maybe none of them will sell. But if they do, I'm interested to one. I'm wondering which ones might go first. I think I might keep a couple of these for myself, for my own spaces. Is there one more? Okay, I don't think I'll be releasing that one initially. I think it will be these 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So keep your eye on that. Hopefully that will be late this week, early next week. All right, so Raymond's up for it. The prices, I'm going to price these. I've had a good think about it. I'm going to price them really, really at good prices. Dibs on the link. I will be launching via the YouTube channel. And they will be really, really accessible for almost everyone, I think. I might even start them even lower than 0.05. We might start them down around maybe the $200 range, something like that, and go from there. And they'll probably tier up. So I'm thinking only 11 per piece, so there'll only be 33 in total. and they'll tier up from there. They'll go, like say they went 200, 250, 300 or 400, and they'll go up from there. But I'll have a look, but I want to make them really accessible. I would love to see them sell out really, really, really quickly so that then we can add some more. And I've got a whole bunch of other ideas for, these NFT spaces for hanging in your digital spaces. So, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, not only does it help me and get my photography out there, which is absolutely awesome, and I would love your help doing that, but they could also significantly increase in value as well, within the NFT space. All right. Thanks, guys. We're going to wrap it up there, and we will come back tomorrow. It's already late this week, isn't it? So it's unlikely the NFTs will release like tomorrow being Friday. It'll be sometime next week, so don't stress if you don't see it tomorrow. All right, let's wrap it up there, and we will catch you probably tomorrow, if not early next week. Thanks again.